weekend is looming here in Red Deer, and so are the playoffs. It's the final day of round-robin action at the Scotties. It's the final day of round-robin from Red Deer, and for most, the playoffs are still within reach. A cluttered leaderboard means weekend games are still obtainable for many. Just 3 draws remain, and with multiple playoff scenarios still up in the air, every end will be intense. Who can make the most of what little time is left? Who can handle the pressure and come up big when it counts? It begins this morning. Draw 15, the 2012 Scotties, is next. For the last 6 days, they have battled head-to-head here in round-robin play at the NMAX Centrium, and now on day 7, a must-win situation for a lot of teams, as only the top 4 will make the playoffs at this year's Scotties. Here's a look at last night's scores, and for Nova Scotia, a 7-6 win over PEI. Newfoundland Labrador are playing spoiler as they beat New Brunswick 9-4. Of course, they are still looking to get in the playoffs. They've got a shot today, as does Quebec, maybe one of the hottest teams right now. They continue to roll, a 10-6 victory. And Manitoba, Jennifer Jones, rolling when she usually does, an 8-2 victory over the Yukon Northwest Territories. And that brings us to the standings. Now, the teams with 6 and 7 losses are officially done. The teams with 5 losses still have a chance, but they're going to need a little bit of help. And there you see Manitoba at 7-2. They've clinched at least a tiebreaker. As we bring in Kathy Gauthier this morning, and last night, Kathy, maybe an omen, the fire alarm went off in the building, and maybe that's a wake-up call now for some of these teams, including Team Alberta. For Heather Nedohin, she's back here for the first time since 2000. If you've seen her play, a very emotional player. She needs to keep those emotions in check, especially with this crowd behind her and so much at stake on this final day.
Well, she really does. 2 of her players have moved to the top of the stats, and the second is in second place. So her team is doing their thing. Heather is very emotional, and I love that about her. It is exciting, and she loves this game, and it shows. But more and more, sometimes that can also affect how you throw, and for Heather, needs to find the balance.
Heather versus Heather, as Newfoundland and Labrador and Heather Strong. This is her 10th Scotties. Now, officially, Kathy, she's out of the mix when it comes to the playoffs, but a veteran player, she will bring her A-game today.
Well, in a little bit of a shuffle this year, Laura, her sister, is throwing third stones and calling it, and that's been a bit of a learning process for them, but make no mistake about it, this woman is about pride in her province and in playing. She's not giving anything away easy today.
So that is our feature game this morning on TSN. It is Heather versus Heather, and as mentioned, 5 losses, you still have a chance, but you need a little bit of help. It's a final, crucial day of round-robin play here in Red Deer. First Rock coming up next.
The 2012 Scotties Tournament of Hearts is brought to you by Sponge Towels, Paper Towels. Nothing absorbs like it. The 2012 Scotties Tournament of Hearts is brought to you by World Financial Group, proud to be a sponsor of the Season of Champions. Your dreams, our strategies. By Roll Up the Rim to Win. It's time for Tim's. And by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
It promises to be a very busy Thursday. Lots on the line. Actually, only 3 teams are eliminated thus far when it comes to the playoffs. Our feature matchup, Alberta, Newfoundland, Labrador on Sheet A. On Sheet B, Kelly Scott, British Columbia, still in the mix, facing PEI. And as our playoff watch continues, all eyes on Team Canada as well. They are at 6-3, the defending champs also in the hunt. And Quebec, maybe one of the hottest teams going right now. Marie-France LaRouche taking on Ontario. Quebec on a 4-game winning streak. And it's time now to meet the teams. Of course, still the flu going around, so no handshakes yet. It's brought to you by Ford. Drive one.
Hi, I'm Heather Nedohin, skip for Team Alberta. At lead is Lainey Peters, second Jessica Mayer, third Beth Iskew, and we curl out of the Saville Centre in Edmonton.
Hi, I'm Heather Strong, skip of Team Newfoundland and Labrador. Our lead is Stephanie Korath. Our second is Jen Cunningham. Our third is Laura Strong, and we curl out of the Ballyhaley Golf and Country Club in St. John's.
So it's Heather versus Heather, both sharing a laugh before this contest. Of course, for the one Heather, trying to play spoiler. For Heather Nedohin, a chance to climb into the playoffs. Rock colors break down like this. Alberta will be throwing the red stones, Newfoundland and Labrador the yellow stones. It was Heather Nedohin earning the hammer in this game. So to start things off for Newfoundland and Labrador out of the Ballyhaley Country Club in St. John's, lead Stephanie Korat.
See Stephanie's numbers. They've been pretty good this week. We had a chance to watch a little bit of this game last night against New Brunswick, and Newfoundland Labrador was all over them. Very aggressive game. She went back to playing, Heather Strong, the style of play she usually does, and they played very well. Alberta's going to have to play well today.
Nice weight.
Okay. Nice grip throw here.
Yep. Right up the broom. Okay, control.
Here's what I was talking about. Brian Laney's moved to the top of the leaderboard, tied for first.
Clean. Clean.
Setting up ends very well for her team.
Okay, you're good. 19.
Well, Kathy, time now for the game plan. It's brought to you by World Financial Group. Your dreams, our strategies.
Well, we'll hear it during the game. Beth and Heather go back and forth a lot. At some point, though, they need to get on the same page before the person sits in the hack and throws. They've got a great front end. Set those ends up well. For Newfoundland Labrador, mimic that aggressive play they had last night. They were all over New Brunswick and just minimize the steals. They have a large number against them, so bail a little bit early if you need to.
So 16 and a half, I think. You guys with me?
Yep.
Okay.
Kathy, I guess the one positive, though, as we talk about the numbers and how strong that Alberta's front end has been, if Heather Nedohin catches fire on this final day and into the playoffs, this could certainly be a team to raise a whole bunch of noise when playoff time comes.
For sure, and it is not as though Heather Nedohin is not playing well. She's about the middle of the pack for skips. It's just that sometimes she skips herself into some very, very difficult ends, and then she's trying to make a really big shot, and she's not always been able to make them.
In her post-game interview yesterday, and she talked about it, obviously an aggressive player is not scared of having the rocks in play, and she admitted if she's got a chance to take 2, 3, or 4, she doesn't mind giving up a steal to 1, where she likes to be aggressive and go for that big end.
It really is a risk and reward. It depends the end. It really goes back to basic curling when we teach strategy. It is all about the end and what the score is on the board. And for Heather, I don't disagree with her. If you have a chance for 4 and it's early on, who cares if you give up a steal?
I thought about the peel, but I thought maybe give her a
That's fine.
little reprieve.
Give her a break, yeah. I'm fine with that.
So 14 and a half or 14-7? 14-7. Crisp release here.
A look at Jessica Mayer.
And again, some good numbers for Jessica, just back of first position, but solid numbers. It's been very consistent.
9-3. Yep. 3. Hard. Room. Whoa. 5. Whoa. Yep. Whoa. Now go. Lenny.
Good weight. Tried to get some finish around that corner. You and I haven't been on this sheet yet, Brian.
Normal.
I don't think they let me out there on a good day.
Not first thing in the morning. Well, no, not about you, but you and I have not covered a game first thing in the morning. And
yeah, that's right.
We often do see different things at night when you are against the side where the stands are and the fans are.
Hard all the way. Hard.
Jennifer Cunningham, got to get by that guard and we'll rub off.
Well, sometimes at night we have issues, and really good crowds first thing in the morning. People will continue to flow through, and you do often get the heat coming off of that side. And so first thing in the morning, because we have not been on this sheet, we're not sure what it will do on that half that is closest to it. Sometimes we'll see a little bit of straightening out if you're playing outside in. So it's something that we will keep an eye on.
9-5. Set it a bit. Whoa.
Should come out.
Clean.
nice.
Slow. Clean. 9-7. Nice throw.
Successfully sticks around to lie 2.
Let's get closer.
And here's the change that happened on this Newfoundland Labrador team. Laura Strong, a longtime member of the team, but had been playing second up until this year. It's not the shot selection that she has found different. And you see her numbers, good, but not great. What she said the biggest adjustment has been is calling line. It's not a thing that she was used to, and that is huge, especially with the swing that we've had out here this week in Red Deer.
Good job. Right up the stick here. Nice clean throw. That release. Let's go.
Beth Iskew, third stones for Team Alberta. A lot of experience here as well. She was an alternate for Kathy King before the Scotties.
Look at those great numbers. She is first amongst all thirds. It's a huge help to Heather.
Go, Jess. Go, Jess. Go, Jess. Go, Jess. Go, 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 go.
Very nice. Keeping a lot of separation between the two Alberta stones.
You like the draw? I didn't follow. We hit this, we won't be shot, second shot.
I know.
I like this.
You don't like the draw, Lainey? I don't. What else do you like, though? I don't know. You have to draw. Okay, let's go, Beth. 14 and 3? I think 14 and a half. 14 and a half? Okay, yeah.
Well, for Heather, in this situation, she's lying shot. They looked at, they hit, and from the hack, Lainey's not particularly happy as a sweeper with this call. The challenge is that if you hit that yellow stone that was just hit by Newfoundland Labrador, your third shot, and you give the opportunity to your opponents to get out of this end. And so that's why Heather wants to utilize that stone in the house almost as a guard.
Room. 7. Room. Make it good. Whoa. Right here. Decision. At the end. No. Even.
No, even.
Lainey. No double.
Nice shot.
Good sweep.
Good job.
Go over here. Probably shot if we touch that too. They were breaking off the line. Yeah. I think it'll hold the line for a little while. Normal weight. Yep.
So Alberta line 1 and 2 early on in this first end with Hammer.
Roll, Jenny.
Yep.
And once again, Heather Nedohin not shy about getting things going early. Heather Strong, skip for Team Newfoundland and Labrador.
Yep. Hurry, yep. All the way. Hard. Hurry. Yep. Go, Jen. Yes. Go.
Makes the hit, and she'll roll behind or next to that red stone, but it is wide open.
Good throw, Heather.
Good weight. Normal. Good normal.
Look now over on sheet D, Quebec, Ontario, and now both these teams technically still alive. That includes Ontario, even with a 4-5 record.
Your roll.
Ontario, the Yellowstones, Quebec, the Redstones, and one of the hottest skips maybe right now. She's been on a bit of a roll. Marie-France LaRouche, her final walk.
A great chance here to score a deuce in this opening end. They are playing very, very well, gaining confidence as they go, and what a good time to gain some confidence. She's doing the Jennifer Jones thing.
On a 4-game winning streak and continuing to roll here, up 2-0 early on Ontario.
Heather looking to roll back to the other side of the house, have a lot of separation between her two stones.
9.5. Hey!
Whoa. Close. No. Yeah. No. Whoa, Jess. Whoa, Jess.
Okay, great shot.
And once again, Alberta lies too.
That's a great shot.
Great throw, Heather.
Girl, good job.
Nice shot. Yeah, I know.
Should jam, should not.
I think so. Nice though, 9-9.
That came up at the end, thankfully.
At the end, yeah.
Well, that's what Jess said. It was a little straighter on this side than the other.
Yeah.
She's not whispering so the other team can't hear her. She just has no voice left at this point in the week. Talk about the emotions of Heather, a very, very emotional player. Lots of yelling and screaming, and between the combination of doing that for 6 hours a day with 2 games and the dryness in the air, it takes its toll on you by the end of the week.
Yep, right to it. Yep, keep going. Okay. Good throw.
Good call, Stephanie. Okay, good job.
It's funny you talk about Heather Nedohin's voice.
Guys.
All right.
I ran into her just before the competition began, and she already sounded like it was crackling a little bit. And I said, "Wow, we haven't begun, and sounds like we'll be in for a tough week." And she's like, "Yeah, well, that's just the way I play." And
It is.
just a great competitor, though, and a wonderful lady.
Okay.
But she said she threw a lot.
It came down hard.
Came down hard, though.
What do you guys want, a 90?
No, I think 95, 100. You think more? I think 90, 95.
And there's Heather's numbers.
95.
That volatility
95.
and also a little bit of the shot making and calls have put her in a situation where she's faced some really difficult shots during the course of the week. Made that great roll on her first one. Now a chance to open up with a deuce. First crack at drawing.
90 on the nose. Let's not go early.
Lots of room.
Great safe!
You need 8 foot. Line's nice.
Maybe just keep it clean.
Line's nice. Easy. 14-2. Should be okay. You ready? Okay.
And it stops in time. Nice draw weight from Heather Nedohin. So an early 2 for Alberta.
That 95 would
And a 2-0 lead on this crucial final day of round-robin play.
Want to win a 2-year lease on a 2012 Ford Focus S? You can log on to fordhotshots.curling.ca and test your online curling skills. And for every participant at this year's Scotties, they also had a chance to win a lease on this 2012 Ford Focus Titanium by testing their on-ice curling skills. The final, a battle of skips. Newfoundland's Heather Strong against Northwest Territories Yukon's Carrie Galusha. And thanks to shots like this, the hit and stick right to the button, Galusha is your winner, winning a 2-year lease on a 2012 Ford Focus Titanium. Don't forget to log on to fordhotshots.curling.ca for your chance to win. And just like Carrie Galusha, you too could drive away in a brand new Ford.
And speaking of great shots, how about the key shot, Kathy?
Well, I think this is a great shot for Heather Nedohin for a number of reasons. Newfoundland Labrador sets up this end pretty well. And in her first shot, she has the opportunity to split the house to lie two. Makes a great hit and roll. And not only does it lead them on to score the deuce, most importantly for Heather Nedohin, coming off her worst personal performance this week in a loss to Quebec at 64%, gives her the confidence that she needs today.
Key shot is brought to you by Scotties Facial Tissue, stylish designs for any room. So a 2-0 lead for Alberta here with action underway in the second end. And in talking with Heather as well after yesterday, obviously a little bit disappointed, but she still said we control our own destiny. We're going to come out today and play to our potential. And so far, a great start.
And she's right. She is one of those teams in a position that she does control where she winds up.
Take control.
Want to avoid the jam.
That was a 10. Okay. Full 12 for second shot.
What did she say?
Yeah, full 12. I'm not sure. Just full 12 for second shot.
Okay.
You can do things.
Even side.
some, but we gotta go.
Yeah, line's good. 4.
Not bad.
5.
Just slide it nice.
4.
5. A little more.
Yeah.
5.
Okay, go.
Just top 12, top 8. Yep. Just to my broom. Whoa, whoa. Whoa. Stop.
Good job. Good job. Nice shot, Jenny.
Nice wait by Jennifer to get around.
And some other scores on the ice this morning. PEI with a steal in 1, so a 1-0 lead over BC. PEI out of the playoff picture. BC very much still alive. Yukon Northwest Territories takes 1, and they're up 1-0 over Team Canada. And it is Quebec with a 2-0 advantage over Team Ontario. Marie-France LaRouche playing some great curling over the last few days.
Heather Strong wanting to split those two around, asking for Jennifer to hit and roll to the other side of the house. Wants to have a lot of separation. Would really like to force Alberta away from her stone hidden behind the corner guard.
Anything, Laura?
Okay.
Away, Laura.
Nowhere. Alrighty.
Good throw.
What up? Yeah, let me know that. Normal?
Control. 10. 10. Let's go, Beth. Let's go. Get the stick.
Well, there might be some fans in Nova Scotia cheering on Alberta this year. Peters, Iskew played with Heather Smith-Dacey in Nova Scotia, actually here in Red Deer back in 2004. That year they finished in 8th.
Hard, Jeff, you got it, go! Go!
Good shot stone for Beth, partially tucked.
Nice brush. That's what I'm trying to spit out. Just back line.
She has played very, very well this week.
Okay. It comes up here, so.
I'm just here. A little more. Yep.
Hard line.
One of the lefties this year at the Scotties.
Yep, really hard. Hard, guys. Yep. Hard.
Making sure to go, Jen.
Here we go. Yep. For a second shot, a little more.
Nice throw, Laura.
Shot.
Kathy, how different do you have to ice a person that throws left-handed compared to right-handed?
You know what, again, it's not about what hand you throw with as much as how you throw that makes the difference. And so for Laura, Heather, of course, having played with her sister for a very long time, will know how she throws. And, you know, if I'm a right-handed and I pop my out turn and you're a left-handed person and you get it going back, it's going to have the same net effect. The biggest difference is when you're sitting in the hack. Sometimes, because you're in the different hack, you can actually see more than a person who would throw with the right hand. But it really is more about release than which hack you come from.
Whoa. Yeah. Sorry, Beth. Nice throw, Beth.
Good enough.
I still
Do you like making a play over there?
What's that?
Like a hit and roll in?
Second, right?
I mean, this would be great. Yeah. Let's try that. I'll give you more ice.
I don't know.
Yep. You threw that well.
Okay, Laura, you can do this.
Well, good confirmation for Laura that she had thrown the rock well.
Same weight, yep.
It's a difficult way to play this, Stone. I know that what Heather's thinking is that if she hits their own on the nose, the red goes, but the stone won't be second shot. But this is really tricky versus just hitting your own and separating them.
No!
Laura Strong trying to get a piece of that red stone.
And she just threw more weight, that's all.
I don't think she heard you. That's all till I did.
At all?
Alberta still shot stone.
You didn't hear him say enough, eh?
I did, yeah. But, I mean, your first one went so wild, Laura.
Yeah.
I thought that one would too, but just a little extra weight, and it ran a different line completely.
Yeah. I mean, it was good ice, but it was a lot more. So.
Feel it right out.
Hitter knows it.
It's nice and clean.
Are we still shot? I don't know. I think so, but hard to tell. Pick it? Okay. Feel? All right, let's go.
Lots of room between those two stones.
Let's throw here, Heather, right up the stick.
Heather will pick this stone out. That's the call.
Heather Nedohin's 5th trip to the Scotties, her first appearance since 2000. And in talking to her this week, asking her, well, what took you so long to get back? Kind of tongue-in-cheek, and she said, well, we're kind of like the Kevin Cooey out of Alberta. So many solid teams. It's very hard to get out of this province.
I would absolutely concur with Heather. Lots of great women's teams in this province.
Very nice throw. Nice job.
Year before, she lost to Shannon Clybrink in the final and has been knocking on the door many times.
Right down to it. Yep.
Quick here, hey?
I would say it's the same as yesterday.
Jenny, did you find yours was gliding more away?
Live look now on Sheet D, Quebec, Team Ontario. Both teams very much still in the playoff hunt.
Yeah, I threw the guard here, right?
Quebec with a 2-0 advantage, second end. And there you see the situation in the house. Final stone here on the way from the young skip from Sudbury, Tracy Horgan.
Well, she does have the chance for the 2, but needed to throw quiet weight at this so that she could roll away. Needs to avoid the jam.
Line's great, guys. Yeah, line. Yeah, line. Yep, you gotta go line.
Her little roll.
Yep. Go, go, go.
Needs to stick around.
They spill it the other way. I don't know if that one spun just in time, maybe.
It might have, Brian. It got that little kazing it too. It is.
Brenda Nichols had a look, so sometimes you need a little bit of luck as it catches a piece. So 2-2 after 2.
Oh, yeah, we're shot.
Well, great weight for Heather Strong. It just over curled that little bit on her. You can see that she is second shot.
Yep.
Going through a less used side there.
Great weight.
Well, let's say 14-8. 100, 105? Yeah. 100, 105, we were saying.
Okay, so to be precise, to be right, no setup, no doubles, so you can be tee back.
Okay. Right here.
Well, unless she comes off her own.
Yeah, we want to be even. Let's be even. So it's like a 6?
Yeah.
I think like just right above the tee line, right?
Yeah. That's
6, 7.
That rock has moved a number of spots. Heather sat in the hack and said tee line or deeper. Beth pointed to above the tee line. They've had that discussion.
Nail this. You got it. Let's go.
Really is about avoiding any sort of double opportunity. That's the goal here for Heather.
Right here, girls.
Heather Nedohin, her final stone here in 2.
Okay, it's not curling. We got to get some separation.
Go back.
14-7.
Go deep.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
We're deep.
Okay, easy, easy. Yeah, that's fine. No, it's okay. It's okay. That's good. Sorry.
Sorry about that. I had 106. Good. That was gliding the whole way.
What we said about Holman, right? Like, remember what we said about like Holman or whatever? That's it. I'm like.
So, of course, you see Alberta lying 1 and 2, and now job done for Heather Nedohin, forcing here Heather Strong to make the hit for her 1.
Getting back to lefties, Brian, this is the single biggest reason she has no difficulty icing Laura. They both throw with the left hand.
Really hard. Really hard.
Well, they're scrubbing hard out of her hand. Holding the line, trying to hit it on the nose. Need to stick around. And this one will spill out. So there you see a steal of 1 for Team Alberta. As Heather Nedohin out of the Saville Sports Center, now up 3-0.
I can't be the first.
Welcome back to the NMAX Centrium. An update now over on Sheet B between British Columbia and PEI. PEI, the Yellowstones, look to be counting 2. And this lady, Kelly Scott, former Scotties champ, former world champion, definitely in the playoff on her final stone, drawing for 1.
Well, she's not going to be worried about being tied up or what's happening in the standings. Kelly knows things take care of themselves as long as you win. Good to see Sasha Carter back this morning. Needs to get to the 4-foot, though. Gave up a steal of 1 in the first.
And all hands on deck with the brushing. Of course, Sasha Carter, a little under the weather with the flu.
Nice.
Great brushing here. So they drag it in for the single. Some great work from Team BC. It is 1-1 after 2, and all smiles there for Kelly Scott. Now, as we look at the standings, final day of round-robin play, here's the situation. If BC, Team Canada, and Quebec all manage to win this morning, that means the teams with 5 losses, basically the right side of your screen, they're all out of the playoff picture. So some things need to happen for those teams with 5 losses to still have a shot. And, of course, the final 4 will make the playoffs. And our feature game this morning, Alberta, Newfoundland and Labrador. It was a steal of 1 for Heather Nedohin in the second end and a 3-0 advantage with action underway here in the third end.
Yesterday you asked me, Brian, how much these teams will be checking over and seeing what is going on. This is the day when you try to not have that happen. But in the case of Heather Nedohin, she doesn't need anybody else to win or lose. She needs to win her 2 today. So very easy for this Alberta team to keep their own eyes on their fries.
Yes, yes, go, go, go. Hurry, hurry, hurry. A little more.
Good sweeping. Good sweep. Nice.
Go just right up here like you can.
With that 3-point lead, Heather's not going to be risking leaving that corner guard in play for Newfoundland and Labrador.
Peel! Yeah. Just easy peel.
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa, sorry. Whoa. Whoa.
Clean.
Whoa.
What's our other red there?
I know, I'm trying to. Ooh. That works.
Watch that yellow.
80.
Good positioning by Beth to try to move that stone as far away as she can.
Freeze that red there, or?
I like hit and roll away.
Okay.
Yep.
Very nice shot, moved one of the guards out of the play and the other one in the house.
Throwing the second stones for Newfoundland and Labrador, of course, is Jennifer Cunningham, and definitely comes from a curling pedigree. We had a chance to chat with her mom, Kathy. Her dad was here earlier as well. Of course, Kathy, 14 Scotties appearances? Incredible, and you could just see the pride on her face. Parents, though, had to leave to go back home, both of them competing in their own senior provincials, respectively, in their playdowns.
Absolutely are. You and I had a chance to sit down with her and Jeff at the banquet on the opening night, and such great pride in both of her daughters. Jen playing here. Other daughter, Jessica, was a part of the Newfoundland Labrador team at the juniors this year. Kathy quite proud of the fact that that daughter won both the award from the players and the award from the officials as most sportsmanlike. You can see why that would happen. Just a great family.
10. Yeah. 9.5.
Gotta go. Gotta go. Whoa. Atta girl.
Gets rid of one. Was hoping to maybe get fortunate enough to get both, but Heather playing an elimination game.
What was the time on the last one? Did you get it?
It was down.
10-2.
I'll give you 9.5. Yep.
Just a little more.
Yeah, Kathy, the great thing about this sport, so much support from family, friends watching across the country. I know we have some great viewership online as well. You can watch across Canada. Even has some messages, people down in Mexico that are Canadians watching us on satellite. So it's great to have all the support and all the viewership. And for those down there, I guess have a cerveza for Kathy and I.
Watch some curling, go to the beach. Watch some curling, go to the beach.
Or that way.
We welcome all the viewers. A lot of Canadians go south at this time of year, and it's fabulous that they're able to still watch the curling and cheer on their teams.
Let her make the play. I don't mind the front, though, either, because then we have all the control rocks.
I know.
Because they're already...
10.
That's the get in the hack and throw the rock cue. And that's the that's the discussion that I think Heather's feeling. They spend a lot of time toing and froing. And sometimes it's really, really important to have that discussion when it's very complicated. Beth has some great insight. She's a very smart player, but on a wide open hit.
You gotta go.
Maybe a little Jess.
Go, Jess.
He's really awkward position for that.
Well, Alberta doing a really good job this morning at upping their stolen points against. Newfoundland Labrador very, very high in terms of being stolen against. That number going up today. Alberta doing a good job of being thieves.
Normal. Whoa. Yep. 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 All the way. Yep. Hard. Go, Jen. Hard a little bit, Jen. Yep. Yep. Hard.
Strong lies two.
Trouble.
Heather will continue to play that. You can see the sharp angle of the yellow. It's very difficult to make the double, and if you're able to hit and roll.
Really thin, Beth.
Okay.
Beth just questioning about that double from the hack.
Right
you
up.
can't always tell how sharp is the angle.
Nice and crisp here. You got it.
Same thing.
Little wobbly out of the hack.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Nine.
Yep. Whoa. 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 No. Whoa. No. No. No.
And there's that, just that little bit of extra weight, not able to stick around.
Looked a little shaky, Kathy, with her delivery coming out.
9-13. It wasn't bad, 9-13. Just, just bad enough. Just what? Just bad enough. Wasn't a bad throw. Just
a little extra ice for the roll.
It's Heather Strong's 10th trip to the Scotties Nationals. Twice finished with 7-4 records. 06 in London, 2008 in Regina. Not their week this week, but definitely a chance to play spoiler.
Okay, let's go, Hooch.
Well, that rollout gives Heather the chance to hit and lie two. She called a very patient end, waiting for her opportunity. It is now.
9.5.
Yep. Whoa. Whoa. No.
No, it's coming up. Stick around.
What was that, Beth?
9-2.
We'll lose the shooter.
Okay, a little firm. 9-2. Sorry. Okay.
Just a little firm. 9-2. Nice throw, though.
They're doing some rock placement.
okay, a little flop in.
Okay, let's do it.
Both teams giving each other the advantage in the last couple of rocks. Looked at one point that Newfoundland Labrador had a great position to score two. Then Alberta had a great chance to force, and now we're looking at probably the blank.
Okay, little up. Whoa. Well then. No. Close. No.
While this rock settles, live look, sheet C, Team Canada defending champs at 6-3. Amber Holland's team facing Yukon Northwest Territories. And there you see the Yellowstone. Looks to be shot rock for Carrie Galusha. And she's playing the draw here in the third end for her 2.
Carrie Galusha, another team that is mathematically out, but someone that you do not want to be playing at any point and taking lightly. Always a feisty competitor. For each and every one of these teams, Brian, you know, it really doesn't matter record. The pride factor's on the line. They're going to be the person to end somebody else's week, too.
Really unfortunate, too, if you have not heard by now. Flu bug really hitting a lot of the players. Carrie Galusha, one of those players to miss action here at the Scotties. We mentioned Sasha Carter. Great to see her back on the ice. As Carrie's front end scrubbing to try, drag it in for second shot. A little bit short, so it will be 1. And a 2-2 game there after 3.
That's fine.
1 yellow. Perfect, wait.
Yeah, I think I was just a little soft on the least.
That's decent.
Because that stone's not in the house. Throw through coming up for Heather Strong.
Just control weight, guys. Just control. See which runs. I ran straight. Yeah. Nice.
So the blank for Newfoundland and Labrador as Heather Strong and her team will retain the hammer when we return to Red Deer.
Straight. What? That was really straight. Really straight. That's right.
Here in Red Deer, fans have come from all over the country to cheer on their favorite teams. And for many of this year's Scotties competitors, their biggest fans are also some of the smallest. Last year, Sasha Carter had baby Evan with her on the ice. Now, 12 months later, it seems he'd like to be out there again if only his dad would let him. Kelly Scott has a big, small fan as well, her 3-year-old son, Nash. 6-month-old Hudson has been cheering on his mom, Lana Vey. And Manitoba 2nd Jill Officer has the smallest fan watching her, 3-month-old Cameron. Well, at least when it's not nap time. 2-year-old Sydney has a busy few weeks ahead of her. Here in Red Deer, she's watching her mom, Carrie Galusha. And next week, her uncles, Jamie and Kevin Cooey, will be on the ice at the Brier. But perhaps the busiest mom is Saskatchewan's Roberta Materi. That's what happens when you have 7-year-old triplets. And by the looks of it, it won't be long until they're on the ice, too. There are 18 mums playing in this year's Tournament of Hearts, and all would love to lift the Scotties trophy. But if they don't, holding another precious item will feel just as good.
And there's a look at Dave Nedohin, of course, the husband to Heather, and of course they have 2 daughters and big fan support. Of course, David, so much success when it comes to the men's side and now supporting his wife. Heather Nedohin here, and it's fantastic. Alberta up 3-0. Sorry, Kathy.
No, I was going to say, Alyssa and Hallie both here this morning to watch and cheer on Mom.
I know it was really tough because they had a Cinderella play that they were having, and I know Heather had to miss it, but she went to the audition, and of course David was there, and I know she talked about that a lot, so always tough to juggle the family and the competing, but awesome to see that story. Really amazing to see how the family comes together with curling, and these young curlers grow up, and as we talked about the Cunningham family, for example, then they get to watch their daughters or sons compete on the ice.
I think it is so underrated how supported these women are by husbands, partners, families with small children. You cannot do it alone, and it is really nice for moms to be able to have their kids here as well. There's nothing like coming off a horrible loss and getting a hug from your child to remind you and give you some perspective that this is an important part of life, but it's just a part. I know I was pregnant the 1996 Scotties with my daughter Gaetan. I remember saying to her, you know, you threw your first bad intern with me. Just sharing.
Make it good, Broom, be great.
A great setup here for Alberta, coming off that loss to Quebec and not playing particularly well. Feeling very comfortable out here this morning.
Yep. Good.
Over on sheet D, looks like 1, 2, 3 yellow stones that Marie-France LaRouche is drawing against with her final stone here in 3, all tied up at 2 with Team Ontario.
Well, Tracy Horgan is not going away quietly, making a great shot on her last one. And that is why an end that was set up well for Quebec early is now at force. Draw for 1 she needs.
Looks to be close as her front end guides it in. Needs to just touch a piece of that button for the single. And Marie-France LaRouche, great weight as her solid play continues. A 3-2 lead after 3. Of course, both those teams still alive in the playoff hunt.
Hard! Gotta go, Beth. Go, Beth. Take that one. Go, 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 go. All right. 8-2.
We can get around there.
Here we go here again?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, one more.
Now the stone's rolling off to the side, but there still is some protection over there, but not enough for Heather Strong's comfort, wanting to have Jennifer throw another corner guard in that area.
We're good. We're 3. Whoa, we're 3. We're past your boom wall.
Sit down.
Whoa, sit.
No,
no.
Okay.
Okay, sit.
Draw around, guys.
Okay. Put them on that.
Okay.
So 15.
Oh, I like this. Right here.
Yeah, actually.
So it looks a lot better on the screen.
Oh, that's loud.
Without last rock, drawing to the open side.
Less ice, Beth?
Kind of force Heather Strong to play out there. There's very little margin of error if you do utilize those corner guards for Beth Iskew.
15.
Heather comes down on top.
15.
It's all of a sudden a dueling game for the
Straight
deuce,
up,
so wants to
facing
force her into
Chris.
the open.
96. That's
Kathy, this team out of the Saville Sports Center in Edmonton, I was lucky enough to play there the first year that it opened. Just an amazing facility in Edmonton. I know a lot of the teams go there to train.
For sure.
A lot of wonderful teams come out of that building as well.
Right, performance center there, so a lot of teams do fly from across the country to the Saville Center to utilize the services of Rob Krebs and their team.
We talked with Amber Hall and her team, of course. They were there as well just a few weeks prior to this event.
It's a great resource.
We go here and they blast, we can come here.
I like going around. Go around. We need to go around.
I like going around.
Pardon?
The thing is, they put 2, then we're fine.
Yeah, but you have a Okay,
yeah,
go talk.
but
I still like to come around.
We
Personally.
go around, then they're just going to follow us.
It's just your first rock, though.
I'm just thinking the freeze over here is the no steal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you make it perfect.
Well, I'm not worried about the steal. I'm just saying, even if we do go around, she follows us. She lies 1 and 2. Our guard's gone anyway.
Yeah, I think if,
Not
you,
worried
come,
about
if
you.
you freeze that and then they blast, then we, we can come around.
I think so too.
I know the ice. She just
Okay.
threw it.
Yeah.
Do that. What is it?
Freeze.
Really?
That really was not
We just threw up all those
a confident,
I know.
really.
But this is
The only interesting call I would say about that, Brian, is that they threw this guard and have been throwing guards so that they could play this shot. And the only thing I would say is there's nothing wrong with the call that she's making, but you've been throwing a guard to utilize it. And in that conversation, it was about how many ways they could miss the shot and what it might give instead of if we go around and make a good one, there's a chance to score 2.
Okay. 8, 6.
Line's good. 8.
Where? It's going to curl.
Where? Where is it? 8. Whoa.
It's not even curling. Come on. No, no, no. Taylor.
Not able to lock it on.
Hey, Bethy, make that go away.
Control
Good
me.
judge.
What kind of weight?
Control.
Okay, let's go, B-Town.
9-5.
Right up the stick. Crisp release here. 9-5, she said. Good throw. It's 9-1.
There's the exact weight that is asked for.
A little more weight, Laura. Backy.
Just misses the back one.
Okay. So a little bit more. That was back 4.
Newfoundland and Labrador trying to get something going to set up a possible deuce.
9 only. Whoa.
They asked Laura to throw a little bit of weight to sort of tap that first redstone on the back, create a little bit of a pocket.
8 for weight, lots of line. 8 for weight, whoa.
Okay, we got that curl then. No, it's only 8. It's curling the exact same line.
Yes, for line.
Nice little tap and
Okay, nice shot, Laura.
very close to being shot stone. And here's the road that has got her here thus far. Heather Nedohin, a 5-4 record. Up next, of course, Nova Scotia to close things out. That could be a very crucial game, but as she mentioned, fate still within her own hands on this final day.
It really is. See that first loss, Yukon Northwest Territories, that was in an extra end, a fabulous shot made by Carrie Galusha. Sometimes when you lose those first games, you get really rattled really early. They rebounded with a win.
Heather Nedohin with her first here in 4.
Good shot.
Able to spill the yellow out. And SQ2 also battling, it seems, between yelling for the sweeping and coughing. It's been that kind of week here at the Scotties when it comes to illness.
Well, it's a long week of a lot of screaming. Just worried it was going to curl a little bit more and jam. It did not.
Right to it, guys.
Yep.
Heather, one of the more animated skips out here. It's fantastic to see how much she enjoys the game and loves competing.
Line will be good. Just
Yeah, when I know.
Yep.
Okay.
Line's good.
8. Don't touch
Okay,
it.
well then. Line's good. Still 8?
Yeah,
Still 8.
a little more actually.
Okay.
Maybe 9. It's coming
Okay,
down.
well
See
then.
the curl starting from down.
No if it's up. No if it's up.
It's 8 exactly.
Close for line
Line's
though.
good. Gotta go for weight. Oh,
Yep.
we're still there.
If you have to. For line.
Okay, no, we're there. We're there. We're there.
Just for weight.
Whoa.
Nice shot.
It does indeed. If it curls just that wee bit more,
Just
great
fine.
weight.
I don't know. Close to perfect.
And as Heather Nedohin prepares to throw her stone, we have a peek live now. Sheet B, BC, PEI. Of course, Kim Dolan now 2-7 record, trying to play spoiler. Tough to see which one is shot. It appears, though, to be a draw for 2 here
It is,
for
Brian.
Kelly Scott.
BC was successful in getting a rock behind the guard. Even though it went deep in the house, it still is out-counting the PEI stone. So for Kelly, she needs a bite of the 8-foot for the Duke.
And as we watch Kelly Scott's rock settle, we'll peek in on Heather Nedohin. Her final stone here in 4, trying to remove that yellow rock off the 4-foot. Bangs it enough and spills it out. And once again, forcing Newfoundland Labrador to hit for the 1. Meantime, nice weight from Kelly Scott, so she picks up the 2. And on top, 3-2 after 4.
It's a really good shot by Heather. They wanted to make sure she did. For sure, you heard her call off at the end that she stuck with the shooter, didn't want to roll out and allow Newfoundland and Labrador to blank. Forces Heather here for the first time in 4 to take a point. A lot of Heathers out here today.
So final stone here in 4 for Heather Strong.
Whoa. Yep. Yep, right to it. Right to
Throwing
it.
the hit against some Alberta granite in the house. And this time, no mistake as she hits it on the nose. And finally, Newfoundland and Labrador on the board here on this Thursday morning, trailing 3-1 after 4. there's a look at Heather Nedohin, a 3-1 lead over Newfoundland and Labrador on this Thursday morning at the Scotties, and she's got fond memories of Red Deer in this city after winning the 1996 Canadian Juniors. There's Heather Godberson in her Alberta rink representing Canada at the Worlds in Red Deer, and they were facing Scotland's Julia Ewart. Close game, but when it ended, Heather Godberson, of course now Heather Nedohin, would become the 1996 World Junior Champion. Always great to flash back to those moments, and so many of the competitors at this year's Scotties with some amazing junior experience. 3-1 in our feature matchup right now as Heather Strong trying to play spoiler on this final day of round robin play, trailing 3-1 with Hammer here in 5.
Well, Alberta's got to be very happy about how their game plan is unfolding. Up with the 2-point advantage, feeling very comfortable with the ice, have last rock.
Stay top 4 only.
Yep. Don't need it. Okay, we need it. Yep.
It's a lovely shot.
On sheet C, Team Canada up against Yukon Northwest Territories. And there you see shot stone belonging to Carrie Galusha there on the forefoot. And looks like Team Canada, Amber Holland, trying to play an in-off to get into that area.
She is. She's trying to hit the outside of her stone and hit it sideways to pick up the shot for 2.
And it's not to be, so a steal of 1 for Yukon Northwest Territories. And a 3-2 lead after 4. Of course, you see Jolene Campbell into the game once again. Been a tough Scotties for Tammy Schneider. Had that fall with the knee and now a bout of the flu. Hopefully she feels better soon.
Hit it hard.
Go, Jess. Go. Beauty.
And as that one spills just into the rings, a look now Quebec, Ontario, a lot of granite in play. And final stone here coming up from Tracy Horgan playing the red stones, or yellow stones rather. Get my glasses on here, Kathy. Colorblind already. It's been a long week. Final stone here in 4 for Team Ontario.
Well, shot stone does belong to Marie-France Ladeuse. She's trying, Tracy is, to angle her own stone. It's the double bump. If she can get by the front, she is. Just not enough.
And 1 red it is, so a steal for Quebec. Marie-France Larouche at 6-3, fighting to get into the playoffs, a 4-2 advantage.
Yep. Whoa. Just board. Right off.
No! Right off.
Good throw.
And not quite enough heat to remove that red stone. Now, we'll be watching the standings very closely all day, especially this morning. Here's the situation. Now, if BC, Team Canada, and Quebec all manage to win, that would eliminate every team with 5 losses. Manitoba, of course, is 7-2. They have the bye this morning, but they've clinched at least a tiebreaker, and we will keep you up to date all morning long here at the Scotties.
Well, it's so frustrating for Nova Scotia and Michelle Englot from Saskatchewan back in the hotel room, just hoping things will pan out the way they need them to. Ontario at least had some control over their destiny playing Quebec. They know if they win, got a better shot.
Normal.
All right, Jenny, you can do it.
Alberta does have last rock, and with those couple of hits but not sufficient weight to get rid of those red stones, there's starting to be a pile of red granite building up.
Needs a curl. Whoa.
No, nothing. No hit. Okay.
What'd you get? 8-3.
Seems great.
I like just to this side of the line. Yeah, just to this side of the line.
That was 9-7. Same thing.
Okay. Let's go. Same curl.
Setting up to be a very nice end here for Alberta. Of course, they have Hammer.
10. Nope. Easy.
Yep. Hard. Right up. No roll. 10-5.
Nice shot.
And now Alberta lying 3, rolling that one to top 8.
And a good recovery, Brian. This is one of those examples where you come out and, whoa, not quite in balance, and that does happen sometimes, but watch her eyes the entire time. Didn't look down, was focused, fought herself back to the broom, and as a result, she gets the 4-point shot.
Sometimes, like the golf swing, doesn't matter how pretty it is as long as you get the job done, and all smiles there.
Yep. Hard. Yep. Hurry. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yep. Yep.
Big weight shot here from Laura Strong, almost makes the double.
That's so close to a perfect shot. Alberta for sure lies 1, maybe 2. It's still hard to see from this angle. 1 for sure. The one at the back is clearly shot.
We'll kind of wait.
Yeah, very close on the other 2.
It is. For Heather, she's not going to worry about that right now.
Well, don't ask the guy that can't separate yellow from red rocks. We might want a third opinion.
Let's go back.
I was not going to you.
You got her.
It is about separating the house now.
I pulled it a little bit.
I got 100, but
just letting her team know that even though they're timing the split, she slid out and she pulled back a little bit, so it would not be a good split to use as a judge.
Take a look. Back, back, back. Go deep, 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 deep. 8. Right there, right here. There we go. Nicely done. 14-3.
Second calling today.
What's that?
Second calling weight today.
Now by running your yellow in, drawing around.
Can you run that yellow and roll it?
Yeah, let's have a chat.
Team conference coming up.
Well, let's see what they say first. Okay, so they're 1, 2, 3.
I don't think you can make a play on the yellow and get both reds. I think you'll come across the top of the
I
back
agree.
one.
I agree.
Because if you could do that, there'd probably be a double
Can
on
you
the
play-
next.
Can you play the yellow and roll in to center? Because there are already 3 right now, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like just a normal weight.
I think we got to play on that.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I want to play a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Yeah, I like this. And roll it to the center.
Or just roll behind our yellow even, right? Right, if we just sort of...
Well, at this point, they're
just
not
sort of
interested in
hit
giving up
inside a
4
little
yet,
bit.
so they
as long
want
as
to
they're
hit
sitting
yellow
both
onto
on the
red.
right, that's what we need.
And then they're thinking the shooter will roll somewhere in this direction. And even if it stops here, what they're trying to do is group something. Maybe get rid of one. The key will be on the shooter that as it rolls across, they may force Alberta to make a shot that might pick out 1 stone. The freeze on the back one is an option, but if it is, first of all, way too early, in my opinion, in this end to do this yet, and you risk giving up 4, and there's no need to yet.
Whoa, whoa.
Laura Strong with her final stone here in 5. Trying to limit some of the damage here. Gets the roll, and it is, well, looks to be Newfoundland Labrador line 1.
It is, and that's probably the best she could have done there.
Still 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. Easier double.
Easier double.
Right up here, crisp release.
She just wants to nose, hey?
Yeah. Yep.
You heard the reference from the Strong girls. It will be an easier double if she hits on the nose. Closer they are together, the easier it is.
9.5. 9.5.
No.
She'll hit it on the nose. You know, we talked about all this junior experience, Kathy. Iskew actually won a Canadian junior title on a team that beat Marie-France LaRouche back in 1997, of course, out in Nova Scotia.
Yeah, I think so. Now, where are you headed? This way?
Mine?
Yeah.
The reason why
That's right.
He's talking about where they want to hit that stone to make the double so that they're both calling the line to hit it the exact same way.
Firm weight, guys. Okay, make this, Heather.
playing the double.
I can't see your finger.
Little more. Thank you.
Yep. Yep. Whoa. Yep. Yep. Hard.
Heather Strong. She beat Laura Phillips 9-3 in their provincial final. Another trip to the Scotties. Can't make the double, but does run the Redstone back.
Good sweeping, guys.
So I threw 9-2 though, but you gave more ice, or?
I think I just didn't go positive on you. Yeah? Yeah. Shouldn't have curled like that. Shouldn't have. No, I agree. Said the whoa, because it usually floats out a little bit.
Heather not convinced that she actually threw it right at the stick. She might have helped it a little bit, and that's why it moved up on her. Alberta will want to beat this as well. More separation between those red stones all the time.
Heather resets, and very important to do that if you see any debris. I know we saw Jennifer Jones in a key game, one of her rocks pick.
Did indeed.
All right, let's go, Hooch. Give us a good one. Dusting.
Clean. Whoa! Clean. Clean.
Nice.
And another great hit, avoids the jam, and Alberta lies 3.
They both run differently. Hers is a 9-2 and mine's a whatever. And
Newfoundland Labrador asking for a timeout. It will ask Jamie Korab, their coach, if he feels that they should try the double, or is it time to play the freeze?
interesting. Hey, yours is a 9-2 and I'm a 10-1. We both get the freeze.
Of course, Jamie, a husband to Stephanie.
Kind of a moral question, you know? Yeah. Make sure we're all on the same page. Yeah.
At this point, it's limited to 2. Don't you think?
Apparently my shots don't matter right now, so you let them know.
I'm at this point, I'm just going to say, well, they only get 2, it's fine.
So try a double again?
Well, it's up to you. Do you want to try a freeze? If you do lock the freeze on, and then you got to blast it all out. As long as we lock it on the face, they can only get 2. Make it really good.
I know. It's just, do we play the freeze or do we play the double? I guess.
Well, it's up to you. What are you more comfortable with? I mean, at the end of the day, giving them 2 is okay here at this point.
Can you not double these and roll?
Make the freeze. Right? Don't make the freeze. We make them double.
Well, a double, it's not as, it's not, it's not routine.
Can we double these 2 and roll?
Doesn't matter. She draws 8 foot. Definitely this double if you're going to try one, don't you think? Yeah, I do. It's a different double. Let's go here. Thanks.
They talked about playing, so that's the call, the freeze. They talked about playing this double. As you heard Heather say, it's not automatic, and it's not. There's a lot of space between those stones. Jamie's net point was that if we give up a deuce, it's not so bad at this point, and I think they all agreed. The problem is it's easier said than done. What they've elected to do is play the freeze. If they're able to lock it on, even a pick by Heather would give up 2, but they're comfortable with doing that and feel their odds are much stronger with this call rather than the double. It is a personal choice, but this has to be perfect or you give up 4.
Everything.
Right to it.
We're 7.
Okay, right
Final rack here in 5 for Heather Strong. This could be the turning point. Needs an absolute pistol here to try limit the damage.
Hurry, guys, come on.
Down 3-1 without.
Hurry, it's great. Go, though. Hurry, right to it.
Cunningham,
right
Cora.
Yes.
Want to lock it on that red stone, get it back there.
Shot.
Good sweep, guys.
A nice effort, but now a chance to blast it out for Heather Nedohin.
Just needs a bit more ice to compensate for the extra. That stop button, it's perfect line. Yeah, I know.
It's great weight for Heather Strong. It just over curls that wee bit and well brushed. Everything really good except for the line on it. which makes this pick much easier for Heather. She doesn't have to be as precise, referring to Heather Nedohin on this final stone.
And really, Kathy, no wrong call there. I mean, they talked about it. What are you comfortable with? She was in a tough spot regardless.
Let's go, Hooch. Foot straight back on this one. Let's go.
Heather Nedohin. From just up the road to the Saville Sports Center in Edmonton, fifth and final rock. A chance to take control here on this Thursday morning. Blast out the yellow.
That's okay. It's good.
And there you see the 2 red stones. So a deuce here in 5 for Alberta and a commanding 5-1 lead through 5. Back to Red Deer after this.
Yeah, we probably need just a little less.
The 2012 Scotties Tournament of Hearts is brought to you by M&M Meat Shops. Hundreds of meal ideas, one aisle.
Welcome back to Red Deer. Well, they wanted to hold them to 2. They did, but still do trail by 4 points after 5. And let's take a look at the numbers now after 5, and they're brought to you by Tim Hortons. It's time for Tim's. Well, advantage for sure goes to Alberta. The key stat that's not shown on this board, though, Heather Nedohin at 90%, coming off her worst personal performance last game. That's what Alberta needs to do to stay on top. And without a voice, Brian has the third. Beth Iskew for comments. Brian?
Kathy, thank you very much. Beth, you're coughing. Poor Heather's losing her voice. How are you guys holding out up there so far?
Oh, we're doing good. We've got enough for lots of games left. So
I know Heather loves to have a lot of rocks in play, and she's okay with giving up a steal if you have a chance to score 3 or maybe 4. Do you love that philosophy and that strategy?
I do. Sometimes I need to, buy in a little bit more. I'm definitely more conservative than she is, but she likes to play that way, and so that's the way that we play.
And you were here in 2004 with Nova Scotia at the Scotties. Was there any deja vu or any memories coming back to this building?
A little bit when I saw the building and things like that. We play in a spiel here in Red Deer every year, and so, Red Deer is a pretty place that we curl in fairly often now, but definitely the NMAX Centrium here brought back some memories of that year for sure.
Beth, thanks for your time and good luck.
Thank you.
Team Alberta with an advantage here in Red Deer, a 5-1 lead after 5. We're back after this.
The 2012 Scotties Tournament of Hearts is brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet? By Ford, official automotive partner of the Canadian Curling Association. And by World Financial Group, proud to be a sponsor of the Season of Champions. Your dreams, our strategies.
Busy Thursday morning here at the NMAX Centrium, and lots on the line. Let's update you now. BC at 6-3 coming in, taking on PEI. Final stone here for Kim Dolan.
Well, in our quick look at the 4-foot, it shows that it was Team Scott, BC line 2. Kim trying to play the double bump, that Yellowstone onto the Yellowstone.
And the team out of the Charlottetown Curling Club having a tough week as they don't get the angles they were looking for there, not enough weight, and they look things over, and it was actually a steal. So a 5-2 lead as they picked up 2 there, as Kelly Scott continues her march into the playoffs. Sheet C, Team Canada at 6-3, also looking to continue to keep rolling. Final stone here from Amber Holland.
Well, she's got a chance for 2 here, Brian. Just needs to get down to that stone and tap it back a bit. You can see she can see 3/4, but a lot of rotation way outside of the target when she let go, and it doesn't finish with any weight.
You see Kim Schneider hand up, and it will not get over there in time. So
wow.
A steal of 1, and momentum swinging to Yukon Northwest Territories as they lead there. Here is the standings on this final day, this final morning of round-robin play. You see Manitoba, they've clinched at least a tiebreaker. Then you see those teams at 6-3. If BC, Team Canada, and Quebec all manage to win this morning, that will eliminate all those teams with 5 losses. So if you have 5 losses, you still have a shot, but you do need a little bit of help. As we bring you back to our feature game here in Red Deer on this Thursday morning, and it is Heather Nedohin, Team Alberta in cruise control. They pick up the deuce in 5, a 5-1 advantage over Newfoundland and Labrador here in 6.
When you talk about what has to happen today, BC, one of those teams, they're up. Quebec, one of those teams, they're up. The only game that is working in those 5-loss favors right now is the Yukon Northwest Territories. It's fifth end breaks, all kinds of chocolates and flowers being brought in for Carrie Galusha. Those 3 teams hoping that she is able to upset Team Canada and keep their hopes alive.
Right up. Do it. All the way. Right up.
Well, if you were listening in, which we weren't, to the team conversations, because of course that is their conversations, you probably would have heard Daryl Horn saying things like, we don't need a lot of rocks in play, let's keep it relatively simple, anything up front needs to go.
What weight, Heather?
And you would have heard Jamie saying to the team, let's tap stones, let's manipulate stones, let's find a way to score 2. We're not out of this yet.
Yeah.
Jennifer's still going to throw another corner guard. They will switch tactics at some point, but still with second stones, trying to find something up front that can stick around.
2.5.
Remember it glides.
Here's just kept going.
Line's good. Stay straighter than her, so yeah, you're right. Careful. Okay, it's good. Let's go, Jess. Nice throw here. We're fine.
Kathy, you talked about Jamie Korab and the advice that he would give. Obviously brings a lot of experience from playing on the men's side as well. Okay. And the husband, too, of course, to lead Stephanie Korab. And the one thing Heather had said in the interviews before the Scotties, just how much fun he is. He keeps it light, you know, jokes around, and that's a great, not only a great thing to have is to keep things light, but obviously some experience and won that Olympic gold medal with Russ Howard, who now works with us on the TSN broadcast team.
Jamie's always been a live wire. He understands the game and he works well, and I'm sure that at this level, when they're looking for a coach, they're wanting somebody to come in and give them some advice on strategy, and Jamie's really good about that.
All right, let's go, Beth.
A great view for him today. Unfortunately, down 4. His team struggled this week. It's very tough. They are one of those teams that really do have a lot of difficulty in traveling. Very expensive. Flying anywhere from Newfoundland and Labrador.
Well, not a lot of handle.
Alberta successfully removing that corner guard, and now you'd expect Heather to change tactics a bit. There and she is. Move those stones around a little bit, try to create maybe a little bit of a wall back there.
Line's good. Off, it's 9. 9, 10. Yep. Still 9. Whoa. Yes, line. Yep. Whoa. Yep.
Plays little tap.
Great rock roll.
And that shot in a better position now. It is still Alberta line 2.
That's actually a very good shot. It wasn't important that she got shot out of it. It was just about getting a stone in play that Alberta has to worry a little bit about removing.
Beth, come here instead of looking up there.
It's a great tool that you can look up, but it doesn't help the discussion, so that's why she's coming down.
I like this. Like if you hit here, it's going to go here and come onto here, right? So that's whatever. She's got to come to us and make a double, and that's not easy. Yeah. So come here. Yeah. I like that. Okay. 5-4. Okay.
Regarding. I don't mind this.
One of the reasons that shot was so good by Laura is that if you try to peel it this way, it's going to go off that and probably jam somewhere over there.
Okay, so
this side is not that easy either because there's some jamming stuff. So what they've decided that they want to do is play down on top of it.
I like coming this way.
Force Newfoundland to manipulate those stones, and maybe they'll get a better crack or an easier crack at removing those stones that are less likely to jam on their own.
Because I've been throwing there.
A bit more.
Okay, let's go, Bethy. Okay, let's go, Beth. Yeah, yeah.
I love, too, how candid Beth was, too, in talking about strategy and rocks and play. And she says, yeah, I love being aggressive when it works.
Pretty close.
Because sometimes you can get into trouble, and at sometimes we've seen that happen to Alberta this week.
We sure have.
It's just a nice 5. It's to it.
Yeah, just
right to it.
14-6, nice weight. Good
Atta
shot.
girl. Beauty.
Nicely done.
113 on count. Okay, perfect. Nice throw, Beth. Atta girl.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same weight. Okay.
Whether to go to the nose, go to the angle. I don't know.
Okay.
Because this prevents that. I don't know what the right shot was, but good shot. 14-6.
So she made a great one on her first one, and now being asked to come the other way and tap it up. Again, doesn't have to be shot. Would love to be frozen onto the Alberta stone, so that any attempt to remove it would direct it onto the Alberta stone.
Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Go, Jenny. Whoa, whoa.
Okay. Straight shot.
And now it is Newfoundland Labrador lying 1.
No,
double there.
No? How else do we make it perfectly?
Just a little far, that's okay. Precise shot making, right? Nice try. 6 feet too heavy, though.
Good. I'm going to go up.
For sure, a little bit more weight than they wanted. They would have loved her to be able to tap it up and be frozen right onto the Alberta stone, but for Laura, was just afraid of being short, I think, and so tapped it too much. And so there is a double chance.
Take less ice.
Less?
Yeah, double. It's straight here.
Double?
Just off nose makes both yellow go away.
And should, too, avoid the jam as well, Kathy.
Yeah.
Off the rock.
All right, let's go. Nail this, Heather.
There more.
You know this spot, right up.
Nedohin, a Scotties winner, back in 1998, playing third with Kathy King, her first stone here in 6. Wants the double. Won't get them both. As Newfoundland Labrador still shot stone, top 4.
I like taking that back one.
Good job.
Now, they screamed right out of her hand. It's on the other side, actually.
Oh, that works great. But
Oh, sugar balls, Beth. That wasn't a good throw. No, my foot came across on me. I gotta get out to the stick. That works out fine.
It worked for her. She was tight.
What do you like here, Jenny?
She does
Like coming around to...
You drop 2.
You gotta come around, that's for sure.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, I think she has the run back. She has the run back on that red anyways. You can't touch
double
that
for
red.
3 then. Like she might get them all, but you know what I mean? I think at this point with the score, we have to risk leaving that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not worried about that. I'm saying
I mean, come here.
this might get them all still, but what else do you do? Easy.
Freeze in there.
I don't think you want to be hitting anything.
Freeze there.
Then my shooter's way up here,
Yeah, exactly.
and the one is... Yeah, I think we have to go here, Laura.
Okay.
I mean, if you go there, as long as you don't keep it open, right?
Just play that into it, right?
If you're here.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fighting for
Live look now on Sheet C, and Team Canada in tough this morning against Yukon Northwest Territories as Carrie Galusha has battled the flu a little bit this week, as a lot of the players have, really putting the heat here on Amber Holland. But final stone for the defending champ looks to be an open hit for 2.
It does for sure, but we saw last end just a little bit uncharacteristic of Amber this morning on her last throw, but wide open hit for 2 would tie this game.
Kim Schneider saying, we got it, stay on it. And they do. So a rebound in for Amber Holland. They pick up the deuce, so they're tied up at 4 after 6.
So after a lot of discussion and debate, Heather's going to try to utilize the stone at the top of the forefoot as a guard and get around it. Their conversation, most of it based on wherever they put the stone, there will be a run back for Alberta, and a pretty short one, and that is true, but it doesn't change the fact that you need to get another stone in there, and that's what they're electing to do.
Hurry up! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going!
Cora Cunningham trying to get it by that red stone, but they will tap Alberta in for shot rock.
And it just cuts so much at the end as the weight comes off.
Sorry, I must not have gotten out to it. It looked tight right away.
Straight backs in 2 is good. Then she has the nose for potentially 2. But this one, I'll count that one, so we can do this. Right? Because that one's there. Do this and sit 3. Okay, so.
Same thing.
Yeah, I want to throw normal.
Okay.
So let's get out here.
Okay.
Just going to play that
Like
right.
here?
I have to tell you, we heard Beth
You think
whisper.
so?
When people whisper, I want to say I want it. It's such a human nature when somebody whispers. It's a secret. We heard Beth going, yeah, I think that's good. And then she realized, but I have my voice yet still. And you do. So pretty simple call. Not necessarily a simple shot, but it is to run that stone straight back.
Let's do this, Heather.
And if you're just joining us, Heather Nedohin is not trying to whisper to avoid the microphone. She's just had a long week of urging her teammates on and losing her voice a little bit. That was the Russ Howard special back in the day when he competed.
And what she's doing is she's saving her voice when she needs to call line.
And doing that right now. The run back removes the yellow, avoids the jam, and a great shot as Alberta now lies 2.
Watch where the shooter goes. We'll see if the triple now is there.
No, I think our back one's out counting the top yellow.
Shoot.
Yeah. Close.
Just ever so slightly off nose across the face, Laura, because nose might not squirt the 7 burn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go. Heel weight or whatever you're comfortable.
Firm.
Okay.
Firm.
Yep. Let's do it.
All she needs to do is move that red stone to the left of Laura's foot back about an inch, and it would bring into play the yellow stone and the 8-foot at the top.
Okay, nice throw here, Heather.
We often hear people, especially Russ, loves to talk about that drag effect. Do you think that may happen here? Is there a jam, or you think she can get them all?
Well, the drag is there because the stones are touched together, so we'll wait. See on this throw.
Hurry!
Final stone.
Hurry, yes, go!
Heather Strong.
Hurry, yep, go, go, go. Yep, hard.
Trying the triple. Can she get all 3? No.
It's where she lined it up. The drag, you would think that that rock would go sideways, but in fact it comes straight back, and I'm not sure whether they miscalled it or it just over-curled.
So a steal of 1 for Team Alberta.
I'd take that chance. Yeah.
The triple not to be as she jams on the back, and Alberta in cruise control here in Red Deer. A busy Thursday morning here at the NMAX Centrium. Quebec comes in with a 6-3 record. You see 2 red stones in the house, and there you see Tracy Horgan, final stone on the way, the all-rookie team out of Sudbury.
Well, facing 2, needs to score 1 here. She's able to hit 8-foot, would pull her within 1 of Marie-France Larouche.
And Ontario, one of those teams, Kathy, that still controls their own destiny. They have to win, and if they beat Quebec, that is big news, because one of those teams with the 6 wins has to be brought back. And there it is, a draw for 1, so they continue to chip away. Quebec was still leading 4-3 after 6. And as we show you the standings, here's the situation. Manitoba at 7-2, they've clinched at least a tiebreaker. And there you see BC, Team Canada, and Quebec. They're all at 6-3 now. If they all win this morning, that means those teams with 5 losses are officially done. And that's exactly why Ontario needs a big win, and that's exactly why the other teams back in the hotel room are cheering for Team Ontario and those other teams, as there's a lot to be decided here on this final day. We're going to switch games now. Heather Nedohin, Team Alberta in cruise control, up 6-1 over Newfoundland and Labrador. So we join now Team Canada and the Yukon Northwest Territories, all tied up at 4. You saw Amber Holland in the update. She made the hit, scored her 2. So it is Carrie Galusha now with hammer, and action underway here in 7.
Red shot stone on the hearts belongs to Team Canada.
And just a couple lineup changes we'll get you to as well. Jolene Campbell, the 5th, is in 2nd for Tammy Schneider. Of course, she had the sore knee and also now dealing with the flu. And Wendy Miller is in at 2nd for Yukon Northwest Territories. And that team also has been hit by the flu. At one game, you remember, Kathy, we covered, they had to play with 3 players, 1 sweeper.
It has been a tough week for a lot of the teams here. There's some great numbers from Kim this morning. We haven't been watching this game too closely because, of course, it was not our feature game. And we have seen some very makeable shots for Amber Holland. That one that she missed on the outside. And then, of course, the shot that she made for 2. So it doesn't sound like the wheels have fallen off for Team Canada. Just maybe one missed opportunity.
Just avoids the jam, yes.
And still protects it. Good shot by Kim. Team Canada does not have last rock here, and so that's why they chose to eliminate that yellow stone. Too many other yellows in the house for their comfort. It's that little kick on the back one.
9-8. Yeah.
Look at 3rd, Sharon Cormier. When Carrie Galusha was sick, she stepped in as skip.
Really hard. Whoa. Whoa. Okay, that's fine.
Let's try to make the double and avoid losing their own at the back. Unfortunately, clips it on the way through.
And Yukon Northwest Territories coming in.
I think I like 9.5
They had planned on having a number of combinations of alternating players each and every game. Unfortunately, the flu kind of rattled that plan quite a bit, but all 5 of their rotation seeing play time on a regular basis at this year's Scotties. Kim Schneider.
And she, too, was hoping to avoid that back one, but still in good shape. And her act was because she was hoping to leave that there and roll around. And we're just trying to get those stones out of play.
Your whole body's just kind of going that way.
So that's what it is, not my release?
No, it's just like everything's just going that way.
Well, then I'm trying to fix the wrong thing. Oh, I've been trying to throw it so straight.
But no, that's definitely across the center. Like, oh, you look at it.
She's talking about her foot coming across the center. That will make you drift when you do that. And you hear Kim saying with her struggles, thinking it was her release. She's shooting 90%, so she's obviously not doing something horribly awful. But she certainly has missed it some times this week that we've seen her that we would not expect. Did that feature on Mothers earlier, of course. Sharon playing with her daughter, Megan. The only grandma in the field.
I thought it was going to go a couple times.
Quite proud of that.
Yeah.
Of course, Kim Dolan also playing with her daughter, and so many special stories, and something they'll remember for a long time.
Always.
Good. Good sweep, guys.
Amber Holland right on the nose. Team Canada lies 2 without.
Good. Good throw. 9-6. Good. Nice read.
Saw that uncharacteristic low number for Amber. Her average this week, 10% higher than this game this morning.
They've really, too, Kathy, had some uncharacteristic games. I mean, losing games late, losing in extra time. Not really what we've come to expect from that team.
No, Amber is such a strong player, not only in terms of her tactics and her technical abilities, but also very mentally tough. She's not likely to make a whole lot of mental errors during the course of the game or let pressure or things like that get to her. It really has been execution on the team when they've lost.
Carrie Galusha unable to make the double, and the shooter spills out. And now Team Canada, a chance to force.
Wow. I thought I was a little wide on you. That's why I said, whoa. Oh, man.
Okay, then let's do this. Let's go.
Just figuring out where to put their second stone.
Just even it up.
Well set up here to force Carrie Galusha to take one in this 7th end.
Okay.
As Amber throws her final stone here in 7, Kathy, have you noticed from the beginning of the Scotties to this point any changes in the ice when it comes to speed on draws, when it comes to hits, anything at all?
Not a whole lot on that. What I've definitely seen changes game to game, and sometimes sheet to sheet is a little bit where you would put the broom. Sometimes it seems that it's been swooping more. There's some paths that don't curl as much. But what we have not seen is a lot of difference in draw weight, and that's fantastic for the players.
And there Team Canada lies too as Amber Holland finds the button, and now Carrie Galusha forced to take her one.
That's about 13-9, hey?
Great
yeah.
weight. Yeah.
Carrie makes her way down.
It's a 10 with what I've been giving you guys.
It's pretty consistently straight with hits. I actually like it, Brian. I know that there's a lot of people that will disagree with this, but I think that one of the skills that's being lost in our sport is ice reading. The conditions have become so perfect that there are expectations that it's going to be the same on every single sheet, every single time, especially at a national level. And then when our teams go off to play in Europe or somewhere else in the world where the ice conditions may not be as perfect, we really struggle with that. I think it is a great skill, and I personally wouldn't mind if every time the players came out every different day that it was a little bit different, that it had to be a part of learning it. I do not think that the condition should change in terms of draw weight, and it has not out here.
And a miss there from Carrie Galusha as she can't hold the shooter. And a steal of one for Team Canada as Amber Holland is now on top here on this Thursday morning.
What'd you get?
9-7.
Oh, it was really up then.
They are two teams certainly in the playoff hunt. Marie-France LaRouche right now riding a 4-game winning streak. She's on the ice right now. Of course, Jennifer Jones has the bye this morning. They will go head-to-head today on TSN in her next draw at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Draw 16 at the Scotties Tournament of Hearts. And we move now to Yukon Northwest Territories. Team Canada last in. Of course, you saw Carrie Galusha unable to hold the shooter with her final stone. Amber Holland, the steal of one. So Team Canada, a 5-4 advantage as the Yukon Northwest Territories has hammer here in 8.
Okay. Okay.
Throwing lead
Looks heavy
stones
again, no?
in this match, Megan Cormier.
Looks heavy.
Yeah, it's on its own. Yeah, I got a 4. I think it's 4.
Take it right back then.
Okay.
Right back.
It's not back there, Carrie?
Yeah, no, I know. It's okay. I got a 15-7. Okay.
Well, Megan unfortunately sliding in, and so that corner guard opportunity
Keep forgetting to go out on
for
this
the
side.
Yukon Northwest Territories now able to be hit because it's in the house. A lost opportunity, perhaps.
9-3, clean. Yep.
Jolene Campbell throwing second stones, filling in for Tammy Schneider this morning. And as Jolene Stone will remove the yellow, we have a live look on sheet B. BC, PEI, Kim Dolan throwing the yellow stones. Looks to be drawing against 1, possibly 2.
You know what? I've watched these. It's right next to us, Brian. I watched Kim and Rebecca look at those 2 stones about 5 times. They really do not know who is shot. You would never play this hit if you were shot, but because the risk is that, in fact, that red stone is shot, that's what they are electing to do for the deuce. Oh, shoot.
And the shooter rolls a little bit too far, and now they're going to have to look it over.
Well, that yellow one for sure is 1, and I think her shooter rolled too far.
Come on, guys. It's gotta be high.
So they say it is 1 for PEI. So BC, a 6-3 advantage. Kelly Scott in control, and now has hammer as they'll begin the 8th end.
Oh, you got it.
This is one of the fifths in the field that has seen the most amount of action because of the conditions that you've talked about for Tammy.
Amber, though, talks so highly of Jolene as she played in playdowns in Saskatchewan with her own team. And keep in mind, being Team Canada, they don't see as much time. And Jolene also a new mother as well. Young Stella, I got to meet a few days ago.
It's out there, bit.
Wendy Miller, also a fifth called into action. They certainly would have used her another day, but she was
Looks like lots.
also sick with Carrie. Lots of fifths this year, seeing so much more action than the traditional come in for a couple of ends at the end of the game when your team is up or down to qualify for the jewelry if your team wins.
Good.
Is the biggest reinforcement this year for anybody not paying attention that you need to really choose your fifth wisely. In the past, lots of fifths were chosen based on their almost their managerial capabilities to run the team, to do the kinds of coordination that you need for a week-long event.
Hard.
Not so much this
Hard.
week.
Hard. Really hard. Really hard. Hard. Go, go, go.
Live look on sheet D now, Quebec, Ontario. Quebec, of course, coming in red hot, and as you saw, they'll be our feature game this afternoon as well. Final stone here on the way from Marie-France LaRouche playing the Red Rocks.
Has a chance for 2 here, Brian. Needs to get around that pocket, already lying 1, but if she can get to the forefoot, biting the hearts, there is a chance for the 2. There's a shot.
Watch the rookie front end. Not a brush to it, and it will slide a little bit too far. So a single for Marie-France LaRouche.
Okay, that's good then.
And they are up 5-3 after 7. That is a big game for Tracy Horgan, of course, because that is one of the teams that they need to catch if they hope to keep their Slim playoff hopes alive.
Okay. Thinking that way. Okay. Half? Yeah.
Just looking at which way to peel it, one way drives it into the house where you have shot stone. There are 2 stones on the right-hand side. Don't want to jam on the back. No question that the call is the peel.
Yep. Hard. Hard. Really hard. Hard. You got it. Hard, Heather. Go. Okay. That's fine.
Kathy, time now for player comparisons.
Well, a real advantage to Kim. We heard her say that she was struggling, wasn't sure whether it was her release or what she was doing, but it's certainly not coming out in their statistics. 90% almost. And for Sharon Cormier, a bit of a struggle, especially with draws this morning. It is tough sometimes. Edge, no question, to Team Canada.
And player comparisons are brought to you by Capital One.
Okay,
What's in your wallet?
Bit, guys. You're gonna have to wait.
Lots wait.
You're gonna have to really wait. Really out there. No, we're not even close to line. Bring it back here. Is it already back here? Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I think just 9.5 is good. Okay, let's go. You've got it.
Stone wide open for Amber. She makes her way to the hack.
Okay, roll your way, Joel. Hey. That looks like a lot of ice. 9.5. Think a little less, Kim.
A lot of talk coming into this year's Scotties about favorites and a lot of fingers pointed towards Jennifer Jones and Team Manitoba. Amber Holland. Will the shooter stick around? And it will not. It spins out. Amber Holland, Kathy, certainly one of those teams, very confident despite the spiels and despite the record. And here they are in the final day, right in the thick of things once again as defending champs.
That's fine. That's better. I must have called it really early.
They did not have a great year. Amber will be the first to admit that. But as she said, we didn't get kicked around in Bonspiels. We lost some of the wrong games at the wrong time.
We got a hit and a roll now.
I feel that they've worked hard, trained hard, are mentally prepared to come back into this event.
We need a 9.5 on the center line here.
And at this point, it really doesn't matter whether you've won everything this year or nothing. It's what you do this week and this upcoming weekend that makes all the difference in the world.
I've been going all morning, so. Yeah. We can roll it right over Meg, like right onto that other red.
Carrie Galusha, this year's Hot Shots winner.
Whoa.
Her first here in 8 with Hammer.
No.
Coming in at 75% so far this morning.
Close. Whoa.
All about the roll.
Watch that. Watch it.
But did not want to roll out.
9.44.
I must have threw it really good. Must have thrown that one really good.
Yeah. 9.44.
No, that's good weight. It just ran there.
Two options for Amber here with Last Rock. One of them is that she could try to play around those corner guards and tuck something in this particular area here. You're able to get to here, or even here, would make it pretty tough for any blank by the team from Yukon Northwest Territories. She's electing to go to the center instead.
Running a little. You're not moving at all. Not curling at all.
And this decision, Brian, may be based on, because we've not been on this sheet up until now, it may be that Carrie Galusha's had fantastic draw weight all game, and they figure if they get to the 12-foot, there's no way she's going to miss it, and maybe she struggled. We saw her last shot last end where she hit and rolled out. Maybe it's the hitting that's been a bit of a challenge today.
And also a way for Amber Holland to practice that draw weight as she puts it right on the pin.
Wow. You make it real. Forcer, but Forcer next end I like better.
Yeah, 8.5. Yeah.
Definitely got your 8.5 weight down.
It's that conversation with Jolene about that.
Last one was 9.4, so it wasn't.
And once again, Kathy, just comes down to that strategy. We've talked about it a lot of mornings this week. What are you comfortable with? Do you like being down with Hammer coming home, or maybe one up without hammer coming home, and just the preference of each particular team. Final stone here in 8 for Yukon Northwest Territories, Carrie Galusha.
Clean.
Whoa.
Clean.
Playing the blank, trying to retain that hammer.
No, just good. That's good.
And she makes it count. There remains a 1-point game here in Red Deer at the Scotties. It's time now for the M&M Meat Shop's Final End Challenge. After this game, go to www.finalend.ca. Enter the secret word for a chance to win a trip for two to see the 2013 World Junior Curling Championships in Sochi, Russia, home of the 2014 Olympic Winter Games. The first 100 entries will have a chance to win a $50 M&M gift card. All participants will get an M&M discount, and we will have the secret word for you a little later on in the broadcast. It was our feature game this morning, and it is the first game finished Thursday as Team Alberta and Heather Nedohin shaking hands with Newfoundland and Labrador as they defeat Heather Strong 10 to the final. And destiny still within her own hands as she's got to put the W's up for a chance to make it into the playoffs this year, as Team Alberta improving to 6-4. And the game we're covering now, Team Canada versus Yukon Northwest Territories. Carrie Galusha, the blank in 8, retains the hammer here in 9.
Needs to move. Okay, Heather.
Heather Kalinchuk comes into the house. And a crucial morning. And here is the latest standings. Manitoba has clinched at least a tiebreaker. BC, Team Canada, and Quebec all on the ice this morning. If they all win, that means those teams with 5 losses are all out. And you see Alberta helping their cause, improving to 6-4 with that victory. So lots to be decided here on this final day of round-robin play here in Red Deer at the NMAX Centrium.
Hard! Really hard! Whoa.
Try to go for the roll in.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
Sorry, Wendy. Oh, we just went hooked brooms. Hooked brooms.
Julian. 9.5. Yeah.
Just
Let's
off
go. You've
nose,
got
they
this.
both go. I think Carrie Galusha will be very comfortable if she's able to blank this end and would be in that one down with situation coming home.
9.5. Clean, just clean. Whoa. Clean.
Amber, on the other hand, would love to force something to happen this end, but has an opportunity to make both yellow go away.
Okay, Joe, that's fine. Good.
And Will spilled them both. An empty house here in 9.
No.
The 10-2 is okay.
British Columbia, Kelly Scott, a 6-3 advantage over PEI. They are in the 8th end, and there you see PEI lying 1, possibly 2.
Looks like 2.
So for Kelly Scott, as she settles into the hack, a hit to pick up her 1, and a 7-3 advantage.
Whoa.
And of course, as mentioned, Kathy, those teams sitting back with 5 losses, hoping PEI can come back and do something special.
Clean. Yep. Yeah. Clean.
Kelly Scott makes the hit.
That is the
And-
rollout on our sheet. Sorry, Brian.
No problem. Looks to be 1. They'll have a quick look. And Daleen says, yep, just 1. So it is a 7-3 advantage after 8.
Okay, staying out there a little more than Heather's. Okay, we're then in. No. Yeah. Just 3. 3, 4. It's fine. It's fine.
Slides in. Amber would have been comfortable with a tight guard. I'd really like to try to force something this end. Just not want to let Carrie blank, but by sliding in, there's no question in Carrie Galusha's mind what Wendy Miller needs to do.
Go, go, go. Yeah, right over. Good, Wendy. 10.
Kathy, we talked about at the top of the Scotties when they were just beginning that Kerry Galusha had said they were going to rotate the roster and put in different players for different games. And obviously, I know the flu kind of messed things up when it came to rotating and going through each and every game. But is it tough, do you find, as a player? I mean, you want to compete each and every game. What do you think of the altering lineup?
You know what? I think that it may work for a team like Kerry's that is, you know, they're all over the place in terms of geographic dispersion. And so if they're getting used to being with a couple of people at a time, it's a great idea. And a team like this also has adjusted really well this week to having another player come in because they're so used to it, arguably the most out here. But yeah, as a player myself, if you come, someone like Amy Nixon, a great player, she came here as Alberta's 5th. She knows she's not playing unless she's supposed to. It's tough. You want to play.
And this one needs to slow down in a hurry. We'll just hang on. Back 12. Well, we've taken over the home of the Red Deer Rebels here for the Scotties. They're currently on an 8-game road trip. Well, they're back from 4 out west, and now they'll head out for 4 more in Saskatchewan. Right now, 9th place in the WHL's Eastern Conference. A lot of great former Rebels have come out of this program. And a reminder, tonight is the NHL on TSN, 7 p.m. Eastern time. The Maple Leafs are battling for a playoff spot as well. Tied for 8th in the Eastern Conference, taking on the Sharks. You can watch at 7 Eastern time, right here on Canada's Sports Leader.
That was earlier this morning when you and I were coming into work. We tried to steal one of those coolers, as I recall.
Seems to be a theme, not the stealing of coolers, but playoffs. This time of year when it comes to hockey and obviously now curling on this final day. Everyone battling to get into that Final Four here at the Scotties.
Okay, wait a bit. Wait a bit. Right over here. Whoa, then. Gotta curl.
Kerry trying to play towards that stone that's just out belonging to Team Canada at the back. Anything in play. Trying to find a way to still score 2.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's good to go there.
Blank is, no, I mean.
Oh, blank is okay, yeah.
Blank her.
Yeah.
Go for the, like, we could have put up a guard, but I think.
Just playing it open and hit.
Yeah. Don't want to be forced to one. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So Kerry sounds quite content if she can come home with Hammer down by 1. That's a comfortable situation for her and her team.
It was a great discussion, Brian, just because the biggest thing is Kerry saying, I could have sort of forced the issue and thrown a guard, but if that happens, she could be forced to 1, and she just doesn't want to be forced to 1. If there was a chance for 2, she would have taken it.
Yep. Clean. Yep. Hard. Clean.
Amber Holland avoids the jam. Team Canada lies 1, back 8.
Good. Good.
Oh, nice. Song anywhere, really. We just got to stick it. Yeah.
Update now from Sheet D, Quebec, Ontario. There you see Quebec with, looks like 2 counters.
Yes.
And final stone for Tracy Horgan out of Sudbury. Team Ontario, this all-rookie team. Jennifer Seabrook, Jenna Inge, Amanda Gates. Final stone all the way. And she really needs to try and make a comeback in this game for any hopes of making the playoffs.
Well, she's got to go way outside and then hope it hooks back into the 4-foot. They have not swept it at all.
That was better weight.
Kerry Galusha will hit and stick on our feature sheet, and that draw a little bit too far. So a steal of 1 for Marie-France LaRouche. Looking good to win her 5th straight at this year's Scotties, and if there's ever a time to heat up, now is certainly the time.
Yeah.
Well, for Tracy, she had great weight on that shot. It just didn't finish. Perhaps took a little bit too much ice. Important for Amber to stick on this one. You heard Carrie say doesn't want to be forced into one, and all too often we see some of the blanks that you really play the whole end around making stuck.
Clean. Yep, stay on it. Clean. Good.
Well, we saw an uncharacteristic miss from Amber Holland earlier in the match, but she has been rock solid here the last few ends. Hits and sticks once again.
Good shooting. Let's see if we get the force. That's so suspenseful.
Amber, one of the few skips to actually still have her voice at this time of the week.
Not a lot of panic in Amber.
Paramore.
On our feature game this morning between Heather Nedohin losing her voice and then Beth Iskew trying to call the line, and she's coughing in between calling. It was pretty tough for the back end of that Alberta team. So a blank in 8, and now final stone on the way here in 9. Carrie Galusha looking to do it once again and take hammer here, coming home into 10. Got to roll that stone out, and she won't. So Team Canada does force the Yukon Northwest Territories to that single. We're tied up at 5. Holland with hammer in 10. After the game, go to www.finaln.ca. You enter the secret word for a chance to win a trip or two to see the 2013 World Junior Curling Championships in Sochi, Russia. That's home of the 2014 Olympic Winter Games. So it is time to give you the secret word, and it is time. Funny how that works out. So log on after the game and put in the secret word. That's how Kathy and I get to the rink every morning. Just the horse picks us up and in we come. We're tied up at 5 here. Team Canada, Yukon Northwest Territories.
All right.
Hammer belonging to Team Canada and Amber Holland in control here with hammer, but as we've seen at this year's Scotties, anything is possible down the stretch. Megan Cormier lead stones for the Yukon Northwest Territories.
Line's nice. Just a 3. 3, 4.
Well, Yukon Northwest Territories did everything right last end to try to force the blank in 9. It was what they wanted to do, but so often we see that whole end played and then a stick happening. And so for that team from the north need to park that. Just got to steal one.
Hard. Hard, 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 hard.
That second guard sliding in, so not ideal.
Okay.
But rocks in play, that's the key.
Good tap. You got this, bud. Hack? Yeah. Or less. 75 probably even.
Heather Kalinchuk.
Hack.
Team Canada out of the Chrono Curling Club in Saskatchewan. And Saskatchewan are next stop on the Season of Champions when we visit Saskatoon for the Brier.
Okay.
Well, and that rock will go back. Heather just tight on that stone. Carrie will replace it to the best of where they thought it was. There are officials behind every sheet.
Yeah, okay, you probably
That
had a
can
better
help.
look at it than I did.
If there is any sort of dispute between the two players, but it is truly a sportsman-like game. You put it back where you think
Try
it
to
was,
move
and
it a
very
bit,
rarely
Wendy.
do you ever hear any issue.
No. Take an 8. This is a 6.
Live look at Sheet B, BC, PEI, and it has been Kelly Scott in control for most of the match. And there you see Kelly once again line 1, top 8. Final stone for Kim Dolan, a chance to pick up 2. and make it 7-5 coming home.
Well, it would be a lot tighter for the team from PEI if they're able to make this stone. 2 is within reach for sure, although they would not have last rock.
Dolan out of the Charlottetown Curling Club.
Way out.
Gets the job done, picks up her 2. So still within reach as BC will have Hammer coming home in 10.
Hard for weight. Hard, girls. Take it off. Hard.
Well, this just underthrown. Carrie had asked for an 8, so she was looking for back 8 weight to make sure that you're down to the face. Okay. Maybe tap it back a little bit.
You got it.
Amber wastes little time. We'll remove the high guard.
Clean.
Interesting, Kathy, we've talked a lot about deliveries, and a lot of the players will look directly at the broom when they come out, and then some, like Jolene, will look down right before they do release the stone.
I'm not a big fan of any of that. Often with the younger folks, we will bring the video camera out and have them watch it again and again, and it's not about sliding out straight, because they're usually eyes on the broom and the target right away, which is exactly what she is. She's square, she's looking. Now she looks down when she puts the turn on it. Now, that's fine as long as your body's 100% straight, but to put the turn on, that's just a bad habit that people get into, and it's often people aren't even aware that they are looking down, and it's not going to serve you any extra bonus to look down, and it certainly does if you look up. So it's a good one to not get into.
It's out there. Just clean. No, it's running a bit, guys. No, that's fine. I don't want it very too tight, eh?
She doesn't want it too tight, doesn't want to create anything that you can run back and start to pick some of those stones out. It's slid a little bit deep.
Probably pretty good. Well, straight deal, I think. I think so. Across the top, it would go in probably. Let's go, you've got this.
The tendency might be to try to run this 3/4 to maybe pick something off, but bad things can happen with that, especially because Team Canada currently is shot.
Whoa.
They don't need to make that move yet, and the guard is the single stone causing them the most grief.
Good.
Jolene Campbell makes that one go away, and still it is Team Canada, shot rock.
Halfway.
Carrie will continue to throw the guards. 7 times so far they have been able to steal, twice today. Really needs to steal here for the victory.
Weight's really good. 2. No, guys, whoa.
Line's fine.
I know if you talk to Sharon Cormier or Carrie Galusha, the highlights of their career certainly beating Team Canada, coming from the Yukon Northwest Territories, a great thrill.
That's fine, guys. That's fine. Just clean. Good.
And giving him a great run this morning on the final morning of round robin play here at the Scotties. Kathy, time for the game story.
Well, you look at 4 and 5 back-to-back steals, really put Yukon Northwest Territories in the driver's seat, but it was that deuce Team Canada came back to even the score. But a really big key was last stand. They played the whole thing for the blank, and then they stuck it. Numbers very comparable. Amber Holland down below her average that we have seen this week. That's why we're in such a close game.
Game story brought to you by M&M Meat Shops. Hundreds of meal ideas, one aisle.
Yeah, not quite so tight. A little less, guys.
Line's fine.
It's out there. Take it, Carol.
Just halfway is good.
Yeah. Whoa.
Line's fine. Get it to center a little bit if you can. That's good. That's good. It's going. Good, Sharon.
And until Carrie Galusha makes a move on those stones, in the 12-foot. Amber will be very comfortable just peeling guards.
Good.
Another successful peel. Timeout being called by the Yukon Northwest Territories team, so we'll see Fred Cooey, Carrie's dad, make his way to the ice. And while they talk things over, live look on sheet D. Quebec 6-3 record, Ontario at 4-5. Marie-France LaRouche leading by 3. Final stone here for Tracy Horgan. Got to sneak by her own guard, get to that red stone, back 12. They get it by the guard. And make a nice play. So that is a pair. Just double check that and say, yes, indeed it is. Marie-France came deep on her last draw, and that gave the opportunity to Ontario. And they took advantage of it. So Brenda Nichols gave the okay there. It was 2, and now just a 1-point game coming home Quebec with Hammer.
We need to do something here.
I like the draw first.
I don't like the draw because if you're heavy, then she just comes and freezes down to it.
Well, that's fine. Then we play this. Let her do that. She's not going to freeze on top of us. She'll try to double those yellows off. There's no way she's going to freeze.
I feel like we shouldn't jiggle these around too soon, you know what I mean? Like,
well, we only have 2 rocks left.
Yeah. Well, you can save it for your last one.
Right? Like tap
that
it?
One? Mm-hmm. This one? The number 5?
Yeah, the 5.
Oh.
So you like the tap or the draw?
What do you like, Carrie?
I like the draw.
Let's do it. Go with your gut.
I like being back here. Okay. Like here's no good because then she just bang. Well, although that'll just go on there. Like I like being back here, like right on the pen. I haven't thrown a draw in a while.
Still 15.
Coach Fred Cooey liked the tap up a little bit better. I think he feels that they've got some options.
I think that should be fine. This is where I gave Megan.
With it.
Yeah, it is. Straightening up a bit,
Carrie likes the draw. It's a very exact draw.
Well, Fred, not only a proud father, but he's
her?
going to be coaching, cheering. It's been a busy couple of weeks. You look, Carrie Galusha, 10th appearance of the Scotties. And then when we get going with the Brier in Saskatoon, Jamie Cooey, his 6th Brier appearance. Kevin Cooey, of course, out of Alberta, 2nd Brier appearance. Former champion and former world champion as well. So there's a look at a very proud father, Fred Cooey. A great history of curling coming from their family, and of course we got to see Kevin watching Carrie earlier in the week in that big win against Alberta, and some great emotion from him as he was cheering on his sister.
Well, he was for sure. And Jamie not here, but he and Carrie are actually twins. We saw great emotion out of Jamie when his brother won that year.
And Carrie Galusha, meantime, trying to force things here with Team Canada. Big scrub to try to get it by. And they'll rub a bit as there's a wall of stones there now, but Team Canada still lying 1 behind cover.
44. Okay.
A lot of options.
Give me an idea of my draw weight because I really haven't thrown one for a while. I've got lots of options now.
Just wondering if the nose isn't the call. Well, no, one of these is coming back onto here.
It is
but
for sure.
Yeah, I guess if I go there, it's probably ticking.
This is barely touched. Like it might.
Jolene
Hit
skip.
that pretty thin though.
You're here.
Which one were you thinking?
Yeah,
I don't think this is going on this side. No.
No, I think it's just coming straight back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you're just going to touch this, and you might not even touch that one, is what I was thinking.
Oh, okay. Thin on the 5 then?
Because you're going to be really thin on this one, right? Half on the 5. What were you thinking? I guess this isn't bad either.
Well,
yeah, no, it's not bad.
like, because this is a tough tap.
Yeah.
And then she has to negotiate the hole. And then she has to negotiate the hole with the nose.
Yeah.
And if she gets it, then we have a slash.
Yeah, that's good too. I just wanted to have a
Whichever you like, Amber. Just not convinced, Joe, that that's coming straight back. Because you could even do this, and that's a tough tap. Yeah, I don't want to line that up, though. Right. Okay. So no.
They're definitely going to hit. There's no question about that. You don't want to leave all those stones there because Carrie Galusha's got shots. They've decided that this is their better option, and their concern or their thought process is that this then becomes the most likely shot that Carrie Galusha will raise back. But if you look at the angle of these two stones right here, really tough to get to the top of that yellow stone and tap it back without rubbing that little bit on the stone that's on the center line. So you have to leave her something. You have to remove something. So this is the elected call. Key for Amber in hitting the stone is not to pop the yellow ones around and move that stone on the right-hand side out at all.
Amber Holland has played a lot of hits in these last few ends. Bangs out on the nose and sits right there.
She's hoping to roll a little bit as well.
Does that look good?
You can see that if Amber had been able to roll that little bit to the right as she had called, this straight back would not
Should I throw in more
be
like
there.
a 9-8?
Oh, just because to get through.
Well,
so
just
that it
because
doesn't
it's
curl,
pretty, yeah, like once it goes, right? I think we need more like a 9-8-ish.
Okay, let's do 9-8.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go.
Okay, guys. Like a 9-8. I'm just scared a 10 is going to overcurl. Yeah. So we need to hit 3/4. Yeah. Well, no. Yeah, 3/4. Yeah. It's a little tricky, but it's there. Yep. Okay, let's make it.
So final stone here in 10 for Carrie Galusha. Needs to force the issue now. Team Canada line one.
Close. Yep.
Galusha needs the run back tap here.
Yep. No. Yep.
No brush yet. Runs it back. Sticks it. Yukon Northwest Territories now. Line 1, 2, possibly 3. And now Amber Holland. A big shot needed to respond.
That's all that she had on this shot. Amber had hoped to roll a little bit, did, and Carrie hits that absolutely perfectly. That's a very small space to go through and not touch either of those other stones.
Just a little more sweep. Yeah. It's okay.
She's talking about the outcome. Had hoped that that yellow stone that shot was a little bit more to the right. So this run back would not be there. Keeping in mind, Amber needs to nut this. She needs to stick around because second shot stone belongs to the Yukon Northwest Territories.
So final stone here in 10 for Team Canada on this Thursday morning. A big scrub. Campbell, Kalinchuk holding the line. Got to run it back. Got to stick it for the win. But it won't sit in time. And Yukon Northwest Territories steals one. Carrie Galusha beat Team Canada back in 2009 when it was Jennifer Jones, and once again comes through this morning.
Thanks, Amber. Tough one.
They have their number on a lot of great teams, certainly Team Canada's, whoever they are.
Thanks.
And what a week to remember here for Carrie Galusha. Maybe not to be when it comes to making the playoffs, but she wins the hot shots, and she knocks off the defending champs as well. And that brings us now to the standings. Manitoba at 7-2. They clinched at least a tiebreaker. We know Alberta with a big victory as well. They improved to 6-4. And look at all those teams now with 6 wins. Keep in mind, just the top 4 make the playoffs. A lot to decide here on this final day of round robin play in Red Deer. We're back with much more after this.
The 2012 Scotties Tournament of Hearts is brought to you by Scotties, proud supporter of women's curling for over 30 years.
And welcome back to Red Deer. A live look. Final stone here, British Columbia PEI. You see two yellows belonging to Kim Dolan as she looks on. In the hat, Kelly Scott. Up by 2. 7-5. Needs to draw full 4-foot for the win and avoid extra ends. Been a great game for Kim Dolan, putting the pressure on. Of course, PEI out of the playoff mix, but BC a chance to join Manitoba with win number 7 here at the 2012 Scotties.
It's always a good sign for the skip when you see your sweepers start to put their brushes down and makes no mistake.
Armstrong and Sasha Carter, of course, back in the lineup, and they'll celebrate a victory. So that win will move Team Scott, British Columbia, to 7-2 as they continue to make a charge towards the playoffs and the weekend here at the Scotties in Red Deer. Great to see Sasha Carter back. She was under the weather like a lot of the players have been this week. And winning makes it feel a whole lot better. So an updated look at the standings. And now you see both BC and Manitoba have clinched at least a tiebreaker. Joining the conversation, of course, was Alberta as they pick up win number 6. They are 6-4. And New Brunswick, you see at 5-4. They had the morning off, as did Team Manitoba. These two teams still going head-to-head over on Sheet D, and we'll join them now live. Redstones belonging to Team Quebec. Yellowstones to Ontario. It is Quebec with the hammer and a 1-point lead here as we come home. Desperate situation here for Tracy Horgan, trying to keep her slim playoff hopes alive, as you see 68% through 9 ends as she delivers her first here in 10.
And 2 stones ago, there were a lot more stones in play. Ontario utilized one of their timeouts to have some input, made the tap. That's how they got to shot stone. And then Brenda Nichols doing a great job of clearing up all the guards in the front, opened things up. This is an attempted guard on the shot stone.
So there's a good look at the house. You see Ontario lying 1, top 12, and that 1 stone from Quebec back 4.
Quebec will now call a timeout.
Elle peut peut-être le manquer aussi, son freeze.
Ouais, c'est ça. Peut-être essayer ça, ouais. Ouais, mais c'est sûr qu'elle s'en va là.
La garde qu'il faut enlever.
OK, on y va comme ça.
Ouais. T'essayes de clipser elle quand même? Fait que...
Well, there's not a lot of discussion. Maddie France just wanted to take the time, I think, to really look. Her gut instinct was to remove the guard. You can see that any play on the shot stone drives it back onto your own. And with last rock here, and also with a 1-point lead, it's pretty simplistic. You make that center guard go away. Give yourself a shot.
Feel.
Marie-France LaRouche up by 1, has hammer her first here in 10. We'll spill 2 stones, open things up.
They're going to take one more look to figure out for sure, but they're definitely shot.
She can just come right down to this. She has backing for the draw. Do you still just like the guard?
What else will we do?
We could hit this and make her sticker.
Like hit
I
roll
like
behind?
the guard. Okay. Just got to get the line right for the backing. I agree. And you just shot this one. So.
What they're talking about the backing is that they feel that if Marie-France comes down to the red stone that is hers at the back of the house, it would be good enough to be shot.
Yeah.
So place a stone.
Split the center line, too.
Same thing.
Split the center line again?
Yeah. Make that draw a little harder and block. Okay.
Sounds good.
If you placed a stone on top of that red stone as you look at it, it would be good enough for shot in the wind for Marie-France, but she still has to get the line right, as they say, and so they're going to guard their own. Try to steal one here and force an extra.
Tracy Horgan,
Go early if you can.
the rookie skip,
Okay, wall line. Wall line.
out of Northern Ontario and Sudbury.
Line's good.
You want us to switch? 2.5.
No, line's good. Line's good.
Right at the end and switch.
2.5, 3.
Close.
Yeah. Whoa, no.
Close. Whoa.
Stop. Sit. Okay, good shot, Tris.
And now the draw for Marie-France LaRouche.
Nice shot. Thanks. That was a good, quick top.
Brenda, est-ce que tu as regardé si on allait dessus sur le cachot?
Oui.
Just asking her to make sure that she takes a look.
Ouais, okay.
She does come down to the back, although that certainly should not be going through her head.
On y va pas de backing, par exemple,
But
okay?
knows that if it does go to the back, she will be shot. And while it's good to know that for the sweepers, line is all important here. You can't throw to be back there because it will not curl quite as much as if you throw dead draw weight.
Yep.
Final stone here in 10 for Marie-France LaRouche. Her front end, Amélie Blais, lead, Anne-Marie Fileteau. We'll have to guide this stone in. Would love a piece of the button here. Needs to finish up. Needs maybe a little backing. Will it stop in time? And it looks like it does. And it looks like the winning streak now at 5 as Quebec continues to roll at this year's Scotties. 7-5 the final for Marie-France LaRouche. And they pick up yet another win, and now another team at 7-3, and all those 3 teams at the top with 7 wins have clinched at least a tiebreaker. Of course, New Brunswick had the morning off. They'll be back this afternoon. Alberta at 6-4. They pick up a victory. And Team Canada with a very tough loss. But the good times keep rolling for Quebec. 7-5 the final. We're back after this.
The 2012 Scotties Tournament of Hearts is brought to you by Ford, official automotive partner of the Canadian Curling Association. By M&M Meat Shops, hundreds of meal ideas, one aisle. And by Roll Up the Rim to Win. It's time for Tim's.
This afternoon, what a matchup we have for you. Jennifer Jones at 7-2. Team Manitoba taking on Marie-France LaRouche, now riding a 5-game winning streak here at the Scotties. You can watch that one with Vic, Russ, and Linda at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time right here on Canada's Sports Leader. Big victories this morning for Scott, LaRouche, and Nedohin from Alberta, and disappointment for Team Canada as they lose a close one. Until we're back with you this afternoon, thank you for watching Canada's Sports Leader, TSN.